Alright, Belgian Grand Prix, Formula 1 away for 3 weeks, but it was back with a bang this weekend for a wet Spa race. But what did we think about it? What were the 5 things that we learned from the Belgian Grand Prix this year? Here are all the highlights, guys, and everything else you need to know from this weekend's race. So, at the front, of course, it was the McLarens. The McLarens very dominant in qualifying, looking at the fastest cars once again, and it proved again in the race as well, winning this one by a big margin. Now, Lando Norris got the pole position, but who managed to win the race? Well, it was none other than Oscar Piastri. I said he needed to win this one because Norris, of course, coming into this one with excellent form, winning back-to-back races for the first time in his career. Piastri, though, has stopped that. He managed to get the win today around Spa. Lando Norris coming home in P2. Like I said, the McLarens were the absolute class of the field, as you really expected. Put the disappointment of the sprint behind them. Of course, Verstappen winning excellently in the sprint, but nobody had an answer to the McLarens today. Come rain, come shine, they were absolutely on top of it, and Piastri manages to win for the first time around Spa. Lando still waiting for that first Spa victory, but the gap is not that big. I think it's 16 points. There's still plenty to go. And of course, we have the Hungarian Grand Prix as well next weekend, which was a very dominant win for McLaren last year. So I expect more of the same this time around in 2025. Let's talk about Ferrari as well. That new floor, that new suspension, really actually doing them very good this weekend. Charles Leclerc getting 3rd place, another podium, first podium in a while for him. Sir Lewis Hamilton coming into this race, again struggling in qualifying. Didn't really do too much in the sprint either. Of course, qualifying very poorly there as well. Out in Q1 again this time around was Sir Lewis Hamilton. And Hamilton, I believe, had finished in the points every single race so far this season. Of course, disqualified from the Chinese Grand Prix, but he still finished in the top 10 in that one. But he continued that this time around. Got a P7. He took a few risks in this one that really paid off. He ended up going onto the dry tyres before anybody else, I do believe, getting up time that way. Some fantastic overtakes as well during the intermediate parts of this race. Really brilliant drive from Sir Lewis to get to P7. His record of always finishing at Spa in the top 4 is of course over now because of that, but seriously impressive to get points from there. And that Ferrari in race trim looks very handy indeed. So I genuinely think they've taken a big step forward this weekend at Spa, and I'll expect a lot better from them in Hungary as well. I think they've got a real chance of a strong podium finish again there too. So very impressive from Ferrari in the end, solidifying their 2nd in the Constructors' Championship, because it wasn't the best weekend for Red Bull nor Mercedes-Benz either. But it was a great weekend for Alex Albon, who managed to finish in P6. Now, he was looking very strong in qualifying. I believe he qualified in P5 or P6 as well. Ends up in 6th place. Williams desperately needed that. They really needed good points this weekend because they've been sliding in the Constructors' battle. Still up in 5th place, of course, that has not changed, but that has really given them an advantage over the chasing pack, including, of course, Sauber. And Sauber, 4th thing we learned, Sauber got points again as well. Not in the hands of Nico Hülkenberg. Not really a good weekend for him this time around. Wasn't able to overcome a poor qualifying position, or at least not as good of a qualifying position as what Gabriel Bortoleto managed to get. He was in 9th place. Amazing for him. Brilliant effort from the boy from Brazil. Fantastic to see him in the points again. And that is 2 races in the last 3. He's managed to finish in the points. Only Silverstone was the only one that he didn't manage to do that. So very impressive for him. Very impressive for Sauber. More points in the Constructors' Championship as a result. And the final thing we learned, we've got to talk about this. I don't like talking about things like this. We've got to talk about it. The start. If you watch the highlights, you may well have missed the fact that we had the first 4 laps of this race run under safety car, which is not that unusual in very wet conditions. But it wasn't really that wet, to be honest. I mean, it was barely intermediate conditions. Around halfway through the race, they switched to dry tyres. But honestly, this absolutely should have started like a regular race. I don't know why they ended up, of course, going with a safety car with this one for the first few laps. Maybe because there were so many crashes at Silverstone. But the bits where there were so many crashes at Silverstone, it was way wetter than this. It was full wet conditions at those points. And I don't understand why they did this. I get it, alright, Spa is a dangerous track. We've seen it over the years where it's been too wet to run. But that wasn't this weekend, man. I know the junior categories had a lot of problems earlier on Sunday. Basically, the entirety of the F3 race wasn't run. I think they run like 2 or 3 laps and then abandoned it. The F2 race, that was really wet at times as well, and it basically got called early because of that. You know, but this is F1. Those are teenage boys for the most part that are competing in those series. These are fully grown men. These are fully grown adults. I don't understand why they had the safety car out for the first 4 laps. It was a really pathetic decision, in my opinion, by Formula 1. And of course, I will be talking about that in a separate video for you guys here on the channel as always. But yeah, I am really, really dumbfounded by that. I really am, to be honest. I don't understand why F1 did that. I think it was way too cautious, personally. And I think it ruins the spectacle a little bit. I think this does kind of ruin the illusion and give ammo to the detractors of Formula 1 that say these aren't the best drivers, these aren't the best cars in the world, this is not the best racing in the world. Events like that, moments like that, give those people legitimate ammunition to fire back at F1 fans and say, you know what, no, they are not the best drivers. They do not run in the rain. So yeah, your thoughts on that in the comments below, guys. Overall, not the most entertaining race, aside from Hamilton making loads of overtakes. It was not the best race overall. It was cool seeing Lando Norris kind of try and chase down Oscar Piastri, but he only got to like 3 seconds of him, something like that. Seriously impressive by Piastri, by the way, to go as long as he did on the medium tyres when a lot of people thought that wasn't possible. He'd have to do another stop after, but he didn't. He kept it out there. Really, really impressive. But yeah, not the best spectacle, not the best Spa weekend, if I'm being totally honest. But hey, good weekend for McLaren, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, bit of a farce at the start of this one. And yeah, for much more reaction and unfiltered opinions on the world of Formula 1, keep it tuned here to the channel as always, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more of this, and have a fantastic day wherever in the world today, guys. See you very soon.